right, we are live. Oh, wow. So happy presidential election night here with the Token Metrics team. Great to have you here, Bill. How are you, Bill?
Ian, good evening.
Yeah,
We're here in the Token Metrics election bunker.
yeah. As everyone can see, I have the TV on the back. Also have it here on my iPad. So we'll be showing you, or rather, giving you our opinions on how all of this can affect crypto. Regardless of what side you're on, we'll try to keep things apolitical and just try to give you our insights as to how to plan ahead, regardless of who wins. So it's going to be a very interesting night. Stay tuned, grab a drink, hang on tight. Probably going to be here for maybe 1 or 2 hours. And hopefully we can have a winner by then, or maybe not. I mean, anything is possible, especially here in the US. All right, so this is going out to our live stream on YouTube, on Twitter, on Periscope. This will also get turned into a podcast. Let us know if there are any issues with the audio. Just tell us in the comments. Let me actually check here on my end. All right, so first on the stream was Michael. Michael on Twitter. Hey, Michael, how are you? Then Mark. Mark was first on YouTube. What's up, Mark? How's Australia? Hope you're doing all right in Sydney. Then we have Sietzi on Facebook first. All right. Then Gara says Trump moon or Biden moon. Yeah, that's the question of the day. Quick question of the night, right? So Bill will be sharing with us his insight. Obviously, Bill is always has lots of great wisdom, especially working in Wall Street and in the markets. If you're tuning in for the first time, be sure to subscribe and tune in. Be sure to also smash the like buttons. And for those who are here for the first time, we'll just kind of go through quick intros. Bill, how about telling the audience your background?
Sure. So I'm the technical analyst for Token Metrics. All right. I help provide, navigation in the storm, because in crypto, it's always a storm. I had a background doing it in legacy markets, Morgan Stanley in the dot-com crash, 12 years at Goldman, including the financial crisis. So I got hooked on crypto in 2017. I worked with Charlie Shrem for a while, and I'm here to help you invest and understand crypto.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Bill. And I'll do a quick intro as well. My name is Ian Balina. I'm the founder and CEO of Token Metrics. Token Metrics is a cryptocurrency investment research platform that helps you become a better trader and investor by leveraging AI-based price predictions, crypto ratings and rankings, as well as AI indices. And our goal is to help really take technology that was only reserved for quant funds, basically the top 1%, and make it accessible to everyone, right? So we're trying to fully democratize quant-based investing and give it to the small girl and gal, Joe and Jane out there, and help you go to the moon and beyond. My background comes from analytics, and I worked 4 years at IBM Watson, working on Watson Analytics, helping take AI-based software and make it available to non-technical people. Then also worked at Deloitte Consulting, and my background is as a computer engineer. And I got into crypto in 2016, and the rest is history. For those of you who've been following me since the spreadsheet days, well, the spreadsheet is now Token Metrics, and Token Metrics is a spreadsheet on steroids. So here we are, and now we're talking crypto and politics on election day. So very, very glad to have everybody here. We'll be taking your questions and answering any questions you have. What's up, Celie? Celie says, much love from Jamaica. Thank you. I've not been to Jamaica, but I definitely want to go. Closest I've been is the Bahamas. When I went on, actually with IBM, we had, this was, I think 2016, maybe 17. So every year IBM has a conference where they get like the best salespeople. So that year I basically crushed my sales quota, and this is called the 100% club. So basically, if you have more than 100% of your sales quota, they fly out to the Bahamas. So it was definitely quite a trip. Very inspirational. Had a chance to swim with the dolphins, which was pretty cool. Outside of that, closer has been maybe DR, Dominican Republic. How about you, Bill? Have you been to the Bahamas by any chance?
I have not been to the Bahamas. It's probably more like a London, Germany, Hong Kong, Beijing kind of guy.
Yeah.
For travel.
Financial
But
markets,
hey,
right?
right. So now that, but now that I'm in crypto, you never know, that Jamaica trip could come soon.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely have a lot of time on our hands, so we'll be telling lots of stories. But I think let's hop straight into it. Bill, maybe kind of share your analysis and perspective on the markets.
All right, let's jump in. Okay, so one of the things that I'm going to go through tonight is we're going to try an experiment, right? If everyone expects the same thing, something else happens. Okay. And I'm going to try to carry that theme through the presentation. So let's start with this. Barron's, obviously the most reputable newspaper periodical for legacy markets, thinks that the winner of the election is Jerome Powell. Now, on one hand, they have a point. Powell has got the power to keep the economy going or not going. And it's been that way with the Fed for quite some time. Okay. The question for election night is not who is the president. Okay. The real question people should be asking is that once the president takes office, whoever it is, can Powell carry the burden of keeping everything going if there's a virus, social disorder, a massive change in policy? Okay. That's a lot of pressure for one guy. Cryptocurrency folks out there, that's a lot of pressure for one guy. Okay. So my answer to can this guy hold it all up on his own? I wish him well, but the answer is no. And I think that is pro crypto. Now, let's talk about what's going on in the market tonight. You've heard PayPal, MicroStrategy, Winklevoss, a lot of these players want to get in Bitcoin. No, not Bitcoin futures, but they want Bitcoin. Now, one of the ways they get Bitcoin is through a mechanism. It is a futures contract made by Backed, okay, where you can actually take physical delivery of Bitcoin just like you bought it on Binance or from an OTC dealer or Coinbase. And what we've seen headed into this election is right over here, this huge explosion in volume in backed Bitcoin options. Now, what does that mean? Well, it's like a big MMA fight, right? Like all the buyers, all the sellers, all the bulls, all the bears, all of a sudden just decided to pile in and make Bitcoin bets. Now, one theory that I have is that companies that have got to have Bitcoin on their balance sheet now that MicroStrategy and PayPal are in, they've purchased options that will allow them to take delivery of Bitcoin if it moons, but they'll only lose a small amount if Bitcoin falls out of bed tonight. Okay. So that's a pretty big mouthful, I know, but it means that there are buyers out there in crypto. Like fear of holding off is real. Okay. So if a move gets going on the upside, it can really accelerate. Okay. So I know it's a big if, but I think if it gets going, it can really move. Now, let's be fair and balanced, right? I found out tonight through Twitter that there's a huge shipment of Bitcoin to exchanges today. Okay. So some huge player, some whale, I don't know. There are rumors of a hack. I don't know. But somebody shipped a ton of Bitcoin to an exchange. Now, what could that mean? Well, it could mean that, the big players are going to do this huge pump and then they're going to sell and unload it. That's the standard meaning behind these things. Okay. I don't know what it means, but I do know that if they ship this stuff to an exchange and the corporations take it from them, okay, it may take the market 1 or 2 days to process it. But if they take it from them, the move that can happen on the upside can be a lot bigger than you think. Okay. Now, of course, because we're in crypto, we know that somebody could always unload on it and it could go to 0 or 7,000. Okay. Been there, done that. You don't need to tune in to us to know that or hear that, because it could happen. It happens all the time. My thinking is, well, what could be different? And this idea of big buyers and big sellers meeting and the buyers winning is a strategy to consider. Okay, now let's talk about Ethereum. Okay, something really interesting that I saw tonight through a friend was that there's something on GitHub that says, hey, ETH 2.0 is coming soon. Now, I'm not a GitHub expert, but I do like an ETH positive catalyst showing up on election night. Now, let's go to a chart. Super busy chart. It's Ethereum versus Bitcoin. Okay, who's the king, right? And one thing you'll notice is that the rate for Ethereum versus Bitcoin has kind of just been going sideways for a while. Actually, all through the DeFi boom, it's kind of gone back to where it started. Wouldn't it be funny if tonight was the night that Ethereum took the baton from Bitcoin and started running on the upside? Now, it would be not so funny for crypto people if Ethereum took the baton and continued to dump like it did 2 or 3 days ago. My charts show that, the market is at a huge inflection point, right? Right over here by the C, where you see the arrow, okay? That's a support point for Ether, okay? And if it holds and Ether does okay versus Bitcoin, I've got analysis that says ETH could take off, right? That if ETH breaks can actually break 400, again, like with the other examples, that it could just run. Okay. All right. So who wants who to win? Right. Let's get to the point. It's an election. We're going to have to say something about it, right? Okay. Bitcoin traders want the US dollar down. Now, short US dollar has been the favorite position of every hedge fund all year. So naturally, as the big event approaches, the dollar has actually been rising as people get pressured out of positions because they're like, oh no, what happens if I get stopped out? Or what happens if the dollar rises? Okay. That said, a dollar decline after the election would probably cause Bitcoin to skyrocket. Okay. Corporate players who delayed would probably have to rush in. Now, why is Biden better for Bitcoin? Okay. Well, Biden's doing things with taxes and changing our social attitudes towards wealth, right? That drive money away. And the US needs that money to fund its deficits. So I'll spare you having to read the economics book. But what these guys want to do, they want to help people. Of course they do, right? But that could have some consequences and it could drive the dollar lower. So you saw it tonight when Bitcoin hit 14K, right? When the TV news says, hey, looks like Joe Biden's going to do well, Bitcoin went straight up. Okay. Now, our audience is primarily interested, okay, in altcoins. Okay. Now, one of the things that I think is really important to note is that altcoins are really sensitive to a rising dollar. Okay. So when altcoin traders this week have probably been like, what is going on? Why is everything dumping like 5-10% at a time? ETH printed 370. Are you kidding? What is up with that? Okay. Well, let me tell you. Altcoins are sensitive to a rising dollar. Okay. And the dollar and interest rates rose this week. Okay. Now, Trump is probably good for the dollar. Okay. Because if he keeps taxes low, then money will continue to flow to America. And if there's distress in Europe over the virus, more money could come to America. Okay. Altcoins may be afraid of that. They're afraid of the dollar going up. So what did everyone do? They panicked. They sold out of their positions. They shorted futures as a hedge. They lost it, right? They're like, oh my God, this has been going down for 2 months and I can't handle it going down anymore. And everyone just, did one big heave. Now, why am I telling you this? Well, if Trump wins and the dollar goes up, I think the dollar rally will be short-lived. It could be huge. It could go on for 2 days, but I don't think it's going to last, right? Because I think there are other factors that are going to drive the dollar down. Okay. So this idea that Trump and the dollar going up maintains American exceptionalism, right? That means everyone wants to put their money in America. Now, that may be true, but I don't think that's a reason to give up on crypto. Matter of fact, I think it's a reason if there's a big heave lower in crypto, it's to grab some, hope the bulls can turn it around and then go with that breakout. Okay. So I think a sharp drop in altcoins on a Trump win is a significant buying opportunity. All right. So Biden is probably straight up. Trump is probably down, stable, then up. Okay. And then, of course, I always acknowledge there is a situation where, all risk assets crater, stocks, crypto, whatever. Okay. But if we're just talking crypto and the election, this is how I'm breaking it down. It comes down to the dollar. All right. Let's talk more about alts. Total crypto market cap, okay, excluding Bitcoin. Now, what we've seen is that mainly because Ether's been in a range and Chainlink has been stable, that, the big altcoins have held together, even though the small ones have fallen apart. But what that's created is kind of like this wind-up process in the whole alt universe. Ether in particular, right? Wind it up, wind it up, wind it up, wind it up. Okay. My work shows that alt market cap could take off to 200 billion. Okay. Because as you can see right over here, there's a lot of volume being built up. And that's this process where they load up the spring. Okay. So even though altcoins have gotten hammered, even though people may be depressed or scared, there may be a huge opportunity. Matter of fact, it could be a historic opportunity. And let me remind you of this. The night Trump got elected, right? Stocks were down like 5%. They're like, oh my God, no one's ever going to print money. No one's ever going to do stimulus. He won't cooperate with the Fed. There was this whole narrative that he was anti-stock market, anti-QE. Was any of that correct? Matter of fact, it was not only not correct, the opposite was true. This is something to keep in mind if you see crypto get hammered like the other day. Okay. Now let's look at ETH basically on a daily chart. Okay. It's not a lot of excitement, but I'm watching the 386 level over here on the corner. Okay. I think once the dust settles, if ETH is above 386, then ETH can take off. Conversely, if ETH can't hold 386, then the alt universe is subject to another flush. Okay. You want to have capital available and you want to be as bold as you can. You don't want to catch the falling knife, but something to keep in mind. All right. Altcoins, when they topped, they went up like 25% and then they stopped. The same thing could happen on the downside. You could see a small coin, flash crash and then have them come back. Now, stocks. Everybody's talking about, what's going to happen to stocks or bonds, and everybody in each market thinks the election doesn't matter for that market. So if you ask a crypto guy who's going to win the election, the crypto guy goes, well, I don't care who wins the election. Crypto's going up anyway. And the stocks guys and the bond guys, they all say the same thing. And of course, that's wrong, right? The election, it does matter It matters when you get in and when you get out. Now for stocks don't trade very well, right? FANG stocks have not been doing anything good after releasing earnings. This is the S&P. It's at resistance. Do stocks look like they're going to fall apart? Not really, because I think that's the Fed is going to be there, particularly if there's social disorder, right? The Fed is not going to let the world burn tonight, okay? And of course, since we're coming to you from Houston, Texas, and Ian will tell you at the end of the show that the moon is not the limit. We have a drawing of Mission Control in Houston with the Token Metrics logo going into outer space. Okay. Just to keep everybody's spirits up, because anything can happen in crypto. So that's kind of the rundown.
All right. Wow, that was amazing. Thank you, Bill. So let us know what you think down in the comments below. Let's take a look and see what the audience has to say. Oh, and by the way, we do have a Mentimeter open. So if you would like to submit your questions, let me just pull that up here. Just give me 1 second. Okay. All right, here we go. Okay. Yes. So if you have any questions you'd like to submit, go to menti.com. That's menti.com. Use the code 4992427. That's 4992427. And the question of the night, why we are all here. Who do you want to win the USA election? So we have two options. We have Joe Biden and Donald Trump. So go and make your voices heard. Does not matter whether you're based in the US or not. This is global to all our crypto family. Go out there and vote. And probably in the next few minutes, maybe even towards midway of the show, we'll go through and share the results. So with that being said, go there and vote, and also ask your questions. Now let's check in here with our audience and see how we're doing in the comments. Okay, so Astute says, great breakdown, Brill. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Donald Duck says, I'm going to win the election. Okay, Christian says, link or band, better buy. Link chart review, please. Thanks again. Okay, so people want to take a look at the link. Since we're here, might as well.
Might as well. Okay, was looking at this. This was part of the prep. All right, I'm getting there.
Yeah, Chainlink has a huge audience. Even on election night, people still want to know where Link is going.
Right. The president is irrelevant. What's going on with Chainlink?
Gotta love crypto.
Yes, you do. You do. All right, here we go. Chainlink. Okay, so Chainlink makes these consolidation formations, and then it likes to turn around and go higher, right? We have triangles, we have squares, and then this over here is a parallel channel that I'm drawing, which shockingly, it actually did, it actually did get down to the bottom of the triangle, the bottom of the channel rather, right here. I drew it and I wasn't expecting it. So if you feel like you're a little bit bewildered and puzzled out there, folks, you're not alone, okay? So with Chainlink, it's like with all altcoins, right? It looks washed out. It looks like it's ready to go up. The only question is there going to be one more final heave, right? Is everybody going to go, oh my God, I have to sell my alts? Or is everybody going to go, oh my God, you know, is Bitcoin going to go up in rec alts, or is it going to be just rec alts, right? Higher dollar, whatever. Point is with Chainlink, I think here, okay, at this $10 level, particularly if they attempt any flush below that, I think there are going to be buyers down there, right? I mean, I'm sorry. If Chainlink is not a buy in front of 10 or just below 10, well, then we can have a really short show, folks. So if Chainlink tries to sweep the low and attacks 10, you know, I say buy Chainlink. And if you can't buy Chainlink at 10, then the whole market's going to get wrecked.
Okay, hold on. Sorry, apologies. I was on mute. So I was saying that's very interesting. So let's take a step back. So since it's the election, so you mentioned earlier that basically if the dollar is strong, crypto goes down, right? If the dollar is weak, people hedged in crypto. So how would people play Chainlink specifically? Do you think Chainlink will be the catalyst for alts because it's one of the biggest alts out there, or do you think it's something else? If somebody right now has Chainlink, how would you play it if you had Chainlink right now?
Okay, so here's how I'd play it. I would definitely own Chainlink at these prices, right? So if I started out with nothing, I would have some Chainlink, because if Ether takes off, Chainlink's going to go and then some, right? Mm-hmm. The way I would play Chainlink is I'd have some, and then if Chainlink tried to go below 10 and run stops and everybody got hysterical because the dollar went up, right? In other words, if the dollar is like a wrecking ball, right? If it goes up, it wrecks all of crypto and alts in particular. Now, why is that? Well, because guess what, folks? Crypto, and I say this with a degree of pride, is one of the only free markets on the planet that central banks or, organizations like OPEC can't manipulate. We're on our own. Now, that's great and not great. On a night like tonight, it's not great because, if everybody comes in to sell at once, you're going to have shocking things on your screen, just like you did yesterday. So you play Chainlink. If everybody goes, oh my God, believing that the dollar is going to go up and stay up, I don't think the dollar is going to go up and stay up. I think Chainlink is like the new Microsoft. It's the new thing that connects everybody. Chainlink will be a part of what I call the new QQQ, the new FANG or NASDAQ 100. 5 years from now, you'll say, oh, yeah, I could have bought Chainlink on election night. Just like 4 years ago, you could have bought S&P. Oh my God, way lower.
Okay. Now, what about the other oracles out there, right? Because some people see Chainlink has mooned and think they've missed that rocket ship. And they say, okay, what about DIA, and all these other competing oracles that are doing the same thing with maybe solid technology or fundamentals, but at a fraction of the price? Do you think those would be safe plays now, or is it too volatile, too risky, especially during election night?
Okay, so great question. So when I look at the charts, like let's say we pull up something that's a little bit more risky, right? Like DIA, okay? Now, if you look at this chart, right? Let me get a 4-hour up. Okay, so the good news is, DIA is at support, right? It bounced here once before, and it could bounce again, okay? This setup here is particularly bullish, all right? So in the short term, I think the bands and the DIAs and whatnot, if crypto goes up, they could benefit from the first spike. So if you're a gambler, right, we try not to encourage gambling, but if you're a gambler and you want to try one of these, I think it's good for a trade. Okay. I think if you want to own something like Chainlink and you want to invest and you want to own the next QQQ, then if there's a flush, you run in and buy Chainlink. Now, like I said, so let's go over this. So if you're a gambler, you take a shot at DIA probably right now. All right. If you're an investor, you take a shot at Chainlink right now with the idea that you're going to buy more if it tries to go below 10. Now, with these things like DIA and Band, okay, if there's a flush lower, don't catch the falling knife in that stuff, folks. Like if alts go down 25%, okay, if they go down 10%, they could go down 25%. So you have to be really careful with the little alts and make sure that the bulls have reestablished control, if that makes sense. Like with Chainlink, I'm a little bit more willing to take the risk that any decline below 10 is BS. You should buy it. But with these smaller coins, you can't be that cavalier unless it's 2% of your portfolio. Does that make sense?
Yes, yeah. All right, great analysis. So to our Chainlink or Link Marines, and to anybody out there who's in the Oracle space, tell us what you think down in the comments below. Okay, let's take a look and see how we're doing with the audience. So we're taking your questions. Go to menti.com, menti.com. Welcome to the Token Metrics first ever US presidential election night, where you have me and Bill here to give you your analysis and thoughts on how to play the crypto market post-election. Whether you're in the US, whether you're in a different country outside the US, doesn't matter. The US being the largest market in the world and also being also owning the reserve currency with the dollar, what the US does, or what the new US president will do, will affect all of us, especially in crypto, right? Now, okay, let me just pull up the code here. Apologies. Hey, Michael, how are you? Michael from the Dominican Republic. Awesome, awesome. Sorry here, flipping through different screens and the US election, trying to juggle lots of things here. Okay, so Menti code is 49924227. That's 4992427. Go there to submit any questions you have. The question we have for the day is, who do you want to win the USA election? Go there and tell us what you think. The options are Donald Trump and Joe Biden. And right now it is split right across the middle. Wow. Okay. I mean, I'm not sure if people have stopped voting, but I mean, talk about suspense. Okay, but obviously it's US election night, so we will try to be apolitical and not pick one side or the other, because we definitely want to respect everyone's opinion and political. Oh wow, okay, and that changed. But with that being said, I mean, kind of as Bill mentioned earlier, so from my perspective, I'm bullish on crypto regardless of who wins. Right? I feel like both sides have something positive and negative to bring to crypto, but either way, I think we're going to do well regardless, right? So I think if Joe Biden wins, obviously it won't be beneficial for taxes, especially if we're investing for capital gains taxes, dividend taxes as entrepreneurs. However, from a regulation standpoint, that means Jay Clayton is out. I mean, Jay Clayton is already likely out, but pretty much that would mean there would be almost an entire new SEC. Hester Pierce is still in the administration, but pretty much whoever we had in the SEC has not been good for crypto, right? So if we just clean house, so from talking to other people in the space, for example, our securities attorney and other people, they think that anybody is better than Jay Clayton, right? Which means that because Jay Clayton has basically ran every American entrepreneur offshore. If you're in crypto trying to build something, you have to go offshore, right? I mean, even us here at Token Metrics, we had to look at offshore entities as well. I mean, so this is something that strikes home deeply with us. And I think it's very, it sucks basically, right? If, as an entrepreneur, why can't we innovate in our country? Why do we have to go to some other country offshore and deal with middlemen, which is a hassle, just to innovate, right? I feel like America became America by leading the world, right? I mean, America took Neil Armstrong to the moon, right? So why? I mean, imagine if America forced Neil Armstrong to go to Russia to go to the moon, right? In a way, that's how American entrepreneurs feel. So I feel like whoever is in power is going to be better than who we currently have. So I think that's the positive, right? So the positive for Biden or Democrats, the negative is taxes. Then if we go to the Trump administration and who, if they win, I think obviously the positive taxes will be very, very low, would have the same. The negative is Trump hasn't really been pro crypto, right? He's definitely made statements bashing Bitcoin, pretty much saying Bitcoin is a scam or fraud. So that's the downside of that, right? So it's kind of like we have to pick what will be good for crypto. So it kind of depends on your perspective. But I think that regardless, though, crypto is going to do well. Crypto, in a way, is a hedge for both parties, right? It's kind of like a straddle. It's like the perfect hedge, right? Bill, your take?
Well, going back to the start, right, with crypto, people are going to need to help themselves. Powell can't do it all. And one of the ways people can help themselves, remember that Coinbase debit card that's coming out, right? Crypto and investing in crypto will allow people to directly help themselves. Okay. And the Fed's going to print no matter who wins. Okay. Now, with Trump is an equities guy, right? And I get it, right? The stock market goes up. The stock market hasn't reflected the economy for the last 10 years. The stock market creates the economy. People see it going up and they're more optimistic and drives corporate business and consumers spend more. So Trump is an equities guy and he wants stocks higher. And when he gets, anti-crypto temporarily, it's because he doesn't want any competition with stocks. He doesn't want Bitcoin mooning to outdo stocks. Okay. And Trump can drive the dollar higher in the short term because, everyone's like, oh my God, what happens if, the United States gets very left wing? Okay. So, that's Trump. Now, again, Joe Biden. All right. So let's dive a little bit deeper. So I'm listening to some hedge funds talk about what Biden really means. And it's a huge change for the United States to say that the government is going to come in and take money from one person and give it to another. Okay. There used to be tax and spend. That was the old days. Okay. But now the Democrats literally want to take it from one group and give it to another. Now, in this environment, that's an admirable thing to do. Is that going to drive people with money offshore? Is it going to drive capital away from the United States? Yes. And is that a problem? Yes. You may notice that the U.S. budget deficit is like $2 trillion. Well, how do we finance that? Who buys all the bonds? It's all that capital that comes into America. So if you drive the capital out, you could actually wreck the dollar. That's why tonight, when, it looked like Biden was going to take it, Bitcoin went straight to 14,000. Now, again, these blips, whether they're 2% in Bitcoin or 15% in altcoins, there's going to be an opportunity here to get in. It's just a question of can you do it and manage your emotions? Like, I got to admit, personally, as a final note on this topic, I'm nervous tonight. I'm nervous. I'm not nervous about social disorder, although, we'll see that at some point, but not tonight. I feel like it's the crypto playoffs.
Now, when you say nervous, do you mean like for crypto or something else? Could you maybe kind of delve deeper into that?
Well, as an analyst, right, people are dependent on me to give them the right guidance, right? And this could be such a meaningful inflection point for crypto, right? Like with Bitcoin pressing the high, right? So I'm not like, oh my God, crypto's going to blow up. I'm not that kind of nervous, even though I know that can happen. I'm nervous, excited because, I want to get this right for the people watching this, right? I want to help you get into crypto because I know a lot of people came running in on DeFi. Right. And they're frustrated, probably, right? They're trying to play the crypto game. They're trying to get involved. So I want to be there for those people with the right decision-making tools, to help them get in if it makes sense and not get wrecked if it doesn't.
All right. Thank you, Bill. That was great. So to our crypto family, tell us what you think down in the comments below. Okay, so let's check in here with our audience and see how we're doing. Tom, yes, so you can ask any questions you guys like. Just go to menti.com. Let's actually pull that up now because we have some questions coming in. All right, so go to menti.com and vote. Tell us what you think. Question of the night is, who do you want to win the USA election? So wow, right now we have 63% of the audience picking Trump. 38% picking Joe Biden. So let's now go to the questions people have been submitting. Okay, so the first question is it a good time to fully invest my time into crypto? Yes. I mean, I think the time to invest your time into crypto was a long time ago. But the good thing about crypto is it's never too late. Right now, we're still too early in crypto. Crypto is for perspective, crypto is a small market. Yes, Bitcoin is blown up. Bitcoin is kind of popular in the crypto world, but most people still don't know about crypto and Bitcoin. So if you compare the size of Bitcoin, which is of crypto, it's about, let's say, $350 billion market cap. Gold is what, like 9 trillion, right? Derivatives is what, like 500 trillion or larger. I mean, so crypto is small. I mean, for perspective, the World Economic Forum projects that by 2027, 10% of the world's GDP will be tokenized, basically in crypto. That amounts to about $9 trillion. So that means, based on current estimates, crypto has about a 40x left in it in terms of total market cap. So that means we're still very early in crypto. So I also strongly believe that crypto and Bitcoin is the future of money. It's Web 3.0, because banking industry, finance has yet to be disrupted. Everything else has been disrupted, but finance, which is really the biggest problem maybe in all of humanity. That may seem like hyperbole, but think about it. Finance affects every country in the world. It affects every human in the world. I mean, that's why if you go to any city, I mean, so I always joke with my friends, every time we travel, we can go into any city, find the tallest building, it's always a bank. Because, I mean, finance is money, and there's money everywhere. And we think this is the biggest market, and crypto is trying to disrupt that. So we think the only limitations in crypto on its growth is the amount of capital in the world. And last time we checked with QE and quantitative easing, they're just printing money left and right. So we think this is just getting started. Bill?
All right. So should you devote your time to crypto? Yes. Okay. Tony Robbins has a kind of a saying that it doesn't matter what you do from 9 to 5. What really matters is what you do from 8 to 2 in the morning. So if you needed a hobby or something to study, or you were that motivated to put that kind of time into crypto, I would say yes, absolutely. Matter of fact, people say that this is the first inning of a larger crypto move. I don't even think it's that. I think it's more like the national anthem. The game hasn't even started yet, right? Especially if all these altcoins are going to become the new tech stocks. Okay, now, if your question is, should I quit my job because I'm going to go home and buy an altcoin and it's going to go up 100x and I'm going to be rich and I'm not going to have to do anything or think or work for the rest of my life? If that's what you've been told, then the answer is no. Okay. Don't do that. Okay. But if you study, you're in early. Okay. All the stuff that all the sophisticated guys are talking about adding to portfolios, most of that stuff came out like it's not even a year old. So, study up, put the time in, right? Have that dream or that goal, write it on your wall, right? That you want to pull an Ian Balina and say, have a nice day to the 9 to 5 jobs and go crypto. Do it.
I think that's a very great perspective. So yes, now's the time to get into crypto and invest your time. Time meaning just learning, education. But that does not mean go out there, quit your job the next day. Because even with me, I got into crypto late 2016, around October, but I didn't quit my job right there and then. It took me basically 12 months. So I quit my job the next year, September. So exactly 12 months after being in crypto. And even then I had a plan. The plan was to first have enough money. So I put in, for those who don't know my story, maybe you're tuning in for the first time, I put in basically about 20 grand in crypto over over about I would say 6 months. Then and eventually put some more into crypto as well. But basically, I took about 20 grand and turned that to over $5 million, basically investing in ICOs and altcoins. I was basically the altcoin guy, right? Because high risk, high reward. But I quit my job after I had about $250,000 in crypto. So basically around 250K. And this was September, where I knew, hey, crypto was the future, but I also had enough money where I could survive decently, right? Where if crypto dropped 50%, I'll still have about 6 figures to live off of. Plus, I'd also minimize my expenses, which not everyone is willing to do. That means I got rid of my nice flashy Mercedes. I moved out of my nice 4-bedroom house, put everything into my parents' basement, and basically said, okay, by the end of the year, I'm going to be traveling. So I was just trying to minimize my expenses. Then in December, actually, no, sorry, in November, we began the Crypto World Tour, right? And that was us traveling the world, meeting crypto people, doing business. But I took actions that led up to that, right? It wasn't just, hey, let's quit ASAP, right? It was kind of planned out. So if you want to do that in crypto, plan it out, have a strategy, but also be willing to minimize your expenses, because in a way, it's kind of like working in the corporate world in sales. Working at IBM, salespeople would always joke that it was feast or famine, because the base pay they give you working in sales is very low, and you basically go 6 months basically living way below your means. Then after you close a nice deal, they give you a fat commission check, and the commission checks were huge. So it was basically feast or famine, and you had to kind of balance that. So I feel like if you're going after a goal, maybe you want to go full time into crypto, plan it out, save money, reduce your expenses, but have a backup plan, because hey, maybe it does not work out, because lots of people in December 2017, and I would say probably into spring 2018, went full time into crypto. And I would say after 2 years of the bear market, probably 90% of them ended up getting jobs again, right? Very few people are still full time in crypto, right? So the ones who survived a 2-year bear market either were smart and cashed out or took profits on the way up, or they were able to diversify and find other ways to make money, right? Whether they invested into real estate, whether they built a business in crypto, which I think is also one way to diversify, right? So if you're going to invest time, it's not always money. You can invest time and begin a business, right? Maybe you have a particular skill set. Maybe you're a developer and you begin building crypto applications and blockchain apps. Maybe you're a consultant. Maybe you like Bill, you do technical TA and analysis, and you begin using that as a skill, right? So there's so many ways to get what you already have, but also invest time into crypto and make it win-win. So great question with that. So thank you for asking that. And to our crypto family, tell us what you think. Anybody with any advice for the person who asked this question, tell us down in the comments below. Okay, all right, let's go on to the next question. I'm trying to multitask here with looking at the live stream and the election. Maybe I should pull it up on my phone. Okay, so next part is not a question, but enjoying the stream. Thanks for the stream, or enjoying the live. Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you for the support. We appreciate that. Okay, next question. Okay, thoughts on portfolio management, comparison from the token metrics and an ex-Goldman guy. Okay, let me see if I understand this question. So are you asking to compare token metrics and Goldman Sachs, or just thoughts on portfolio management? Okay, I mean, I'll kind of maybe share our perspective from the quant side. Maybe Bill can kind of share his perspective from working in Wall Street. So at Tokenmetrics, we're, as mentioned before, we're launching a new grade called the quant grade and also the trader grade. But we're also launching a new way to allocate portfolios, essentially our AI indices. So if you're not a customer yet, I highly encourage you to go and join tokenmetrics.com. Subscribe. We do have discounted trials. But let me go through, for example, and cover our indices. So I'll cover how we allocate them right now. Then I also cover how we're going to be allocating them in the future. So if you go to any of our indices, right now, if you notice, they're pretty much almost evenly balanced. They pretty much sway between 10 to maybe 11% to maybe 9.5%, or maybe at the lowest about 9%. That's because we allocate the weights to each coin in the index based on the grade. So in this case, we're looking at the value investor quarterly balanced index. So this is taking basically a balanced grade, basically the finer grade, and building a portfolio around that. So meaning that if Bitcoin has a grade of, let's say, 95%, and some of the cryptocurrency has a grade of 85%, the difference is pretty minor, right? So that's what we currently use. However, it's not the most efficient way of allocating a portfolio. The other traditional way is a market-based index. So, for example, if you go to other competing products or even just CoinMarketCap, most indices in crypto use a market cap weighted portfolio. Basically, they'll take the amount of money in Bitcoin, and which is about, let's say, about 65%. So 65% of the portfolio is towards Bitcoin. That is a nice, safe strategy, but we don't think it's the most efficient strategy. If you're trying to make money fast, if basically high risk, high reward, is kind of like the very passive investing approach. Our approach, even with this balanced approach, people would think this is super risky. I mean, to me, this is balanced, but we dabble in altcoins all day, 24/7. But if you go to Bitcoin maximalists, they'll think this is like shitcoin relay. But to us, because we've gone through and done the actual analysis on these projects, they're not as risky as others would think. Now, the new strategy we're working on, let me see if I can actually pull this up here. This is basically our internal GitHub. Hey, what's up, Crypto Nesto? Thanks for the comment. I appreciate it. Okay, so just give me a second here. I'm going to pull up these. So we have some internal documentation that I want to share. So we're launching. Okay, yeah. So we're launching a new way to allocate portfolio. And actually, surprisingly, this model is called the Black Litterman model, and it comes from Goldman Sachs. This was back in the 90s. Basically, a bunch of quant people figured that markets do not follow a normal distribution. So if I can just get technical with you for a few minutes here, so please bear with me. Let me see if I can. This is kind of what the quant team at Tokenmetrics is working on behind the scenes to make Tokenmetrics an amazing product. And we're hoping to launch this hopefully sometime this week, or I'm sorry, sometimes next week. Sorry, okay, yeah. So probably just bouncing around. So let's take this approach here, right? So this is basically two distributions, right? So most models for allocating a portfolio assume that it follows a normal distribution, but that's not the case, right? If anything, crypto follows what is known as a fat tail distribution, meaning that there's a higher probability of a big loss, right? Everybody in crypto knows this. Just go look at your portfolio if you've been in crypto for the last 2 years, right? There's definitely a coin that has huge losses. For example, if we go to XRP, right? If I can zoom in here. So XRP here lost more than 30% in one day. Other coins we can look at, for example, Matic Network, at one point it lost 64% in one day. And this was last year, and there was lots of FUD around that. But in general, cryptocurrencies can lose a lot of money very quickly. So what our team is doing is kind of going through all of that. Now going back to the Blacklit model. So it assumes that, okay, normal distributions do not work. So we have to use something different. We have to use essentially a fat tail kind of distribution, or rather we have to take the market cap views, basically the market cap weighted portfolio, and then we take our proprietary technology with the AI and basically our grades, and we combined it to come up with a hybrid portfolio. And then we go through different simulations using basically mathematics, and we find a portfolio that sits across the efficient frontier. So let me see if I can find a diagram to model that here. And just bear with me. Like Litterman model. But I mean, this is, I mean, obviously, I'm definitely no expert at this. I'm just kind of giving you the high level overview on how this works, but this is what our quant team has been working on. Okay, so let me see if I can find a big picture to explain this. Right. So basically this. So we're trying to find a portfolio that sits across the efficient frontier. And for layman's, that basically means finding a portfolio that is the most efficient portfolio to allocate your money in by going through thousands or probably even hundreds of thousands of simulations, right? So what does that mean exactly? So let's say you have, to keep things simple, you have DAI, a stablecoin, and Bitcoin. Now let's say you're very conservative, but you want to find the most efficient way to allocate that capital. Do you buy 50% DAI, 50% Bitcoin? Do you buy 99% Bitcoin, 1% DAI? So we basically use computer models to go through and simulate every single permutation or combination and find the most efficient allocation, meaning the most efficient way to give you the best return versus risk. So at a high level, that's kind of what we're doing, except we're doing it for all the indices, right? So if we give you an index, so for example, let me go back here and show how this would work with the new grades. Okay, sorry, I'm kind of bouncing around here, but it's all going to be worth it. Fundamental grade. Okay, yeah. So here's a perfect example. So this is the raw data. Yes, I'm getting technical, but I think it will kind of make sense once people kind of see how this works. So here we're allocating a portfolio based on the fundamental grade, but based on the Black-Litterman model, right? So what this is saying, if we want to build a portfolio based purely on fundamentals, this is how it would allocate the portfolio. And in this case, we have 10 coins. So it would allocate 13.8% towards Pax Gold, 13.8% towards Bitcoin, about 12.7% towards Ethereum. So it's going through and it's doing all the calculations for you to find the efficient allocation as opposed to just allocating it based purely on grade. So that's kind of the approach we're doing. The good thing is if you subscribe to Tokemetrics immediately, you'll be able to leverage this once we launch this, hopefully this month, without having to be a data science expert or quant expert. We'll fully automate this for you and give you technologies that are typically used by quant funds at the power of your fingertips. So that's kind of our perspective. Bill, could you kind of share your perspective and kind of what you've experienced working in Wall Street?
Certainly. So as you just saw, the answer to the question, what is the difference between Tokemetrics and Goldman Sachs for portfolio management? There isn't any. Okay, because Tokemetrics has figured out how to leverage AI, machine learning, and advanced finance theory, okay, to generate information, okay? This is where the Goldman Sachs comes in, to find not only the hidden gems, but that allocation that you should make, like you should have extra Ether or extra Chainlink, or you should have REN, or you should have no Bitcoin or whatever, or stable coins. What's that allocation to give your portfolio that kicker, right? What's the thing that no one can see? Like here's a Goldman story. Once upon a time, we had a guy when oil's at 50 or 30 who said oil was going to 100. And they thought that the research was irresponsible. They thought it was crazy. Okay. Oil went to 140. Why am I telling you this? Well, because Goldman had technology, ways to measure oil demand, but it also had human analysts who could look at it, put it in context, and then help you say, yeah, buy a bunch of oil stocks. So if you would normally hold 10 units of oil stocks or 10%, yeah, bump that up to 20 now before the move happens, right? So Goldman was always early, right? Goldman knew the 2008 crisis was coming 3 years before it did and took measures to protect the firm, all right? With Tokemetrics, Okay. You're getting the same kind of technical brain power and human expertise, but you're getting it in a streamlined blockchain AI version that can be consumed by you, the retail investor listening. So when Ian's like, get on board, he's talking about getting on board something that can move like a starship, but it's super lean and mean. And it's made for you, right? It's made for you.
All right. Thank you, Bill. And yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the beauties of kind of bringing in the human capital, but also our AI technology and making it accessible to our customers, right? So you have access to Bill and his wisdom in the private group, the professional group. You have access to our AI, and you have access to our community as well. So be sure to join if you haven't yet joined Tokenmetrics. Okay, let's go on to the next question. Actually, I think let's do a quick election update. Let me kind of briefly share what we're looking at here. So I have a few different sites up and just kind of trying to track the election. So here I had 538. They kind of like the data-driven platform, kind of like the tokenmetrics for politics. I read this book a while back. Nate Silver, he was the guy who predicted the first election, I think with Obama, but he missed the Trump one like everybody did. But just looking at this, for anybody out there who's curious, so looks like in Pennsylvania, their officials say they will not be reporting any more ballots tonight, and I think most of those will be going towards Biden. Looking at his tweet here, then doing the math, Biden leads by about 145,000 votes in Arizona's Maricopa County. Okay, but anyway, let us know what you think. Let's go back to one of the questions we had, which was the question of the day with our audience. So go to menti.com, tell us what you think, menti.com. Code is 4992427, 4992427. And the question is, who do you want to win the US election? And right now, Donald Trump is overwhelmingly in the lead, 63% with our audience. Oh, wow. Okay. All right. So with that being said, let's get back into the AMA. Okay. So here's a question. Okay. Whoops. Did not mean to refresh that. Okay. So is there any way in which the election results could cause a bear market? Bill, what do you think? Could the election cause a bear market?
Okay. Well, on one hand, if you're in small altcoins, it probably already feels like a bear market, right? Because everything's getting hammered. Now, so the question is, can something happen in the election that totally wrecks crypto? So in order to wreck crypto, you'd have to wreck Bitcoin and Ethereum and have it all go down with it. Okay. So here's a scenario that could wreck crypto, right? Trump wins and the SEC serves a major exchange with a lawsuit over money laundering, like all at the same time. So dollar up, stocks up, crypto, the little brother left behind. And then, oh, by the way, here comes big regulator over the top. So, that's like, 1, 2, 3, knockout, right? I really hope that doesn't happen. The other thing that could happen with crypto is that people get upset, create social disorder. The social disorder could be such that the economy is affected, right? Not just our economy, but other economies, right? So a negative event in the US, whatever it is, ripples out and hurts emerging market countries, right? It's that whole dollar up thing. Okay. So if dollar is up, up, and up, you know, and if a politician like Biden says, we're going to borrow and print money, we're going to do 90 trillion, then that means interest rates up. So if it's dollar up and interest rates up, that's what wrecked crypto in 2018. All right. So to put it in some sort of context, like what's happening now, this is a 4-hour chart of the dollar versus the Mexican peso, right? So the dollar's been going down, okay? But here is kind of an oh my God spike, right, in the dollar. So people are nervous, right, in the foreign exchange market about this, about the dollar wrecking everything, which includes crypto, right? So what we want to see is the dollar to go up and everybody have some sort of temporary, oh my God, and then have the dollar downtrend resume. Does that make sense?
Yes, yeah. All right. Thank you, Bill. Yeah, I think that was definitely great analysis. Let's see what our audience has to say. People are getting political in the chat. Let's keep it friendly, everybody. Crypto family. We're all crypto family. We're all on the crypto rocket ship, regardless of our party affiliations. All right, so tell us what you think down in the comments below. Okay, on to the next question. Okay, let's avoid the coin related questions for now. Okay, let me bring back my screen. Okay, can central banks creating digital assets hurt the crypto markets and also hurt the ethos of decentralization? I don't think so. I think this is the best thing ever for crypto because all these central banks will be marketing the hell out of crypto because obviously, as central banks do, and just anything kind of done by the government is not perfect, right? If anything, it's the opposite of perfect. So I think once people get used to having a digital dollar or digital euro, and they're basically having crypto in their wallets, right? So it wouldn't be a big leap for them to now look at Bitcoin. If anything, they'll be more warmed up to Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, maybe even stable coins. So I think, if anything, it's the greatest education engine out there to onboard new people into crypto. Bill?
Okay, so let's talk about government issued stable coins, right? Why would they do it? Here's why. So if you have a crisis like now, the government would issue a stable coin to your wallet that could be spent on a wide variety of items. So think of it as like an expansion of, it's not quite food stamps because you can buy more than food. You could pay your rent. You could use it for Uber or transportation. You could use it for, staples of life, clothing, diapers, a webcam. So it would be the government giving you things to buy approved items versus the government giving you money to open up a Robinhood account so you could buy Tesla on margin. No. So that would be the use of a government stable coin. Now, what the government also wants to do is they want to control how people on-ramp into crypto. They want visibility so bad actors don't use crypto to launder money, right? So theoretically, if you're going to go to crypto, you'd have to take your fiat and buy, Fed coin, and it would go through a government monitored blockchain, right? And then you could go buy crypto from there. And as Ian said, once they create the digital unit, what's the first thing everyone's going to want to do, with a digital unit, assuming it's not the thing I expanded on earlier, right? They're going to want to trade crypto. So the government making everybody go get a wallet is great for crypto. Personally, I think what governments are going to wind up doing is they're going to wind up wanting to take control over how private stable coins work, right? They're going to want to heavily regulate it, or they're going to get really involved in the monitoring of how stable coins get used. Okay. Either way, stable coins that represent fiat currencies are here to stay, whether the private sector builds it or the government builds it. I think if the government does build it, it's going to be this like universal basic income, right? The government does not want people out on the streets. They do not want people to be, insecure with food, right? So I think the government's getting involved in digital currencies has multiple benefits. Does it hurt the centralization theme? You know what, folks? They're going to have Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Polkadot. Those three highways, I mean, that's like the George Washington Bridge, the Lincoln Tunnel, and the Holland Tunnel, right? Crypto, the bus is leaving. The rocket ship is launching. Okay. So if governments get involved, yeah, some of it might be centralized, but the decentralized world is not going anywhere. It's getting bigger by the day.
All right. Thank you, Bill. And as we see here, the election is pretty close still. So it might be going in for a while. So tell us what you think down in the comments below. Okay. All right. Moving on to the next question. So once again, if you would like to ask a question, go to menti.com, menti.com, use the code 4992427. That's 4992427. Okay, so interesting question. Have you considered launching a separate monthly plan for the Quant plan? No, so it's going to be the same because basically it's a new grade. The thing is, we'll be removing the fundamental and technology grades and basically making things a lot simpler and having just two grades, one for trader, one for value investor. So everything would be a lot easier for everybody. We might restructure the pricing because things will be different now that we are removing those grades, but we expect everything to be pretty much the same. But good question. Okay. All right. This is an interesting question here. How did you do this year with investing, Ian? So my investments this year. So I've been very bullish on Helium Network. I've been bullish on that. Wow, when was that? It feels like it's been over a year now. So last time I checked, Helium was over $1. I bought some on exchanges, but I've also been mining it. So mining wise, my cost basis that I have to talk to my CPA, but it's basically not quite free, but close to free. But I also did buy on exchanges at around 20 cents. Also ended up buying some more at over $1 actually, because I'm just accumulating. That's probably like my one big bet. So that has done pretty well, depending on when I got in. So the peak was about $1 something. So I think at one point it was almost a 10x. Then I've had Matic Network as well. That one hasn't done so well. That's also in my long-term portfolio. I traded Chainlink when Chainlink pumped for like a month or two. That one did well, but that was a trade. I sold that. I have ETH. I also have Uniswap, but that was just the airdrop. All this is actually on my disclosures page. Let me see if I could pull that up here. This is where we put our entire team disclosures. So if you want to follow us and see what we're investing in, we typically update this about once a quarter, right? So this has pretty much all the investments. I had Alof from an airdrop from some other project. That one surprisingly did like a 10x, I believe. I have Chromia, but I haven't looked at that really. But that's pretty much it for the most part. Bill, you do kind of want to update people with what you're investing in?
Sure. So I did okay in Bitcoin and ETH this year, and I've still got all that. Chain Chainlink, I moved in again recently. believe it or not, I'm doing, I call it the punt book, just like you're taking a punt. I believe that all these people who are going to get upset about the election are coming to crypto, and they're going to open a Coinbase account, and they're going to see something like Litecoin trading at $49 a unit. And Litecoin is essentially cheap, fast Bitcoin. That's about it. So I'm taking a punt on Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash, like, I don't know, 5% of the portfolio, right? And then the surprise move, because I had to have a surprise move for the show, right? I had to do some homework and do something bold. So tonight I moved 12% of the portfolio into an altcoin REN. Okay. One of our colleagues is a player in REN. Basically, when he explained to me that REN is like a tollway between the big blockchains, and REN is going to be a shuttle bus between Polkadot and Ethereum, right? Now, mind you, he told me this because I asked him, because I didn't understand it. I was like, dude, I know you're into this, but tell me why. And then he's like, yeah, you're going to need something to go from Polkadot to Ethereum. I was like, okay, let me go home and study charts for like 2 days. And then tonight I said, you know what? When Bitcoin hit 14,000, I was like, okay, you know what? Let's take some of this Bitcoin and go shopping, right? So one of our mantras is, take your money and go shopping. And I'm taking a flyer on REN, and I'm doing the chain link strategy. So I'm going to get some REN, and if it crashes, I'm going to get some more. And here's the thinking. I don't think people know what it is yet. Like, I work in this business with a guy who's in REN and knows everything about it. And I had to ask questions. I was embarrassed. I was like, can you explain this to me? And once he did, I was like, if they kill this, I want to own it, because the day someone wakes up and goes, yeah, this is like a tollway and they collect tolls and they connect Polkadot and Ethereum. Oh, forget it. It's a 20-cent investment. This is the definition of value investing, right? Find something good that everyone is selling, because everyone is selling everything, right? Everybody's panicking. So find the gem, find the chart point, and go for it.
Yeah, nice that you're in REN. So somebody had a question here, very interesting question and fair question. Basically, hey Ian, why aren't you in Bitcoin? I mean, I'm all in on Ethereum. I mean, Bitcoin is nice. Don't get me wrong. Bitcoin has great technology, but to me, Bitcoin is like a stable coin. So, Bitcoin goes up 50%. I think Ethereum can go up a lot higher, and I think altcoins can go up a lot higher, right? So obviously, what I'm doing is not ideal for everyone, right? I think you have to kind of analyze your own financial situation. This is definitely not financial advice. This is just what I'm doing, and in general, whenever I put money into crypto, Bitcoin is just slow. Like sending money to Bitcoin. So when I use fiat to buy crypto, I'm buying Ethereum, right? Because really, Ethereum is a store of value. Yes, it's not quite there yet as Bitcoin being a store of value, but to me, because if you want store of value, I feel like the options you have, yes, Bitcoin is one of them, but you have Ethereum, you have stablecoins in Ethereum, heck, you even have Pax Gold, and you have some other altcoins that are pretty stable. For example, in the correction, privacy coins were pretty stable as well. Now, don't get me wrong, Bitcoin is still great technology. I just don't have time for it. And I know my opinion is controversial and not for everybody, but that's what I do, right? Bill, anything else to add to that?
Well, now that I work at Token Metrics, I've sort of learned that you want to accumulate and invest well in Bitcoin, so you can invest in altcoins for when altcoins transition from all the way up, all the way down to an actual genuine investment, the new QQQ. So Bitcoin is the gateway to the next wave of technology investments, right? So the better you do at investing and trading in Bitcoin, basically the more money you have for whatever altcoin you're looking at.
Yeah.
Right. It's a way to grow the wealth so you can really grow the wealth.
Yeah. Now to add on to that, so lots of people in crypto who trade Bitcoin, or rather who trade altcoins, are trading altcoins to make more Bitcoin. I kind of have a different perspective. I'm trading altcoins, or investing in altcoins to make more Ethereum or Ether, because I think long-term Ethereum will surpass Bitcoin in market cap. So if I'm bullish on that, why am I trying to stack Bitcoin when I should be stacking Ethereum? So that's kind of my perspective. Plus, I mean, Ethereum just has a lot more functionality. I mean, with DeFi, because if you're yield farming or doing whatever, you need Ether. Bitcoin, you don't really need. I mean, if anything, I would probably just get wrapped Bitcoin or rent BTC, as Bill mentioned, right? So if anything, I'd rather own those. But even that to me, because that's getting Bitcoin onto Ethereum. So that to me means that buy more Ethereum. So if anything, that kind of gives you exposure to all of that. But hey, tell us what you think. Do you think I'm crazy to not have any Bitcoin, or do you think Ethereum is going to the moon and beyond? Tell us what you think down in the comments below. Let's check in here with the audience in the comments and see how we're doing. So thank you everybody for tuning in for this crypto live stream. Be sure to smash the like button, subscribe, share with the audience. Meadow says, vote Ethereum for president. Oh, I did already. I did. And then he says, Bitcoin for vice president. All right. No hard cap to ETH. BTC 21 million. Yeah, I mean, Bitcoin has that hard cap, but I mean, because Ethereum has, yes, it has a supply that's infinite, but it's constantly decreasing, right? It's basically, I think the term is, it's basically an asymptote. Basically, it decreases and approaches zero, but never quite gets to zero. But eventually, I mean, just look at all the people building on Ethereum. Almost everything is on Ethereum, not Bitcoin. Even Bitcoin is now on Ethereum, right? So, I mean, I'm not seeing Ethereum on Bitcoin as much. I mean, people try to do that with RSK. That project failed. So, I mean, I'm all in on Ether. And once Ethereum surpasses Bitcoin in market cap, I think those of us who were in early will hopefully be geniuses and having this live stream on our yachts. Okay. Anthony says, I agree. ETH will overtake Bitcoin. Ian and Bill, are you guys going to stake ETH? Possibly, right? There are platforms that are launching it, but very bullish on ETH 2.0, right? So if anything, I think I would stake Ethereum. Not certain yet because the returns are pretty low. So I think from looking at staking rewards, it's about 6%. There might be better returns investing in altcoins and earning more ETH that way. But that is something that definitely would be on the table. Okay, banks are adding Bitcoin to their balance sheet, not Ethereum. Yes, very good question or statement. Yes, banks are adding Bitcoin to the balance sheet. That's because banks are late. They're late to the game. Once they eventually add Ethereum to the balance sheet, that could be a hedge, right? I mean, obviously, Ethereum has a totally different use case. I don't think banks would add Ethereum per se to the balance sheet, at least not for a while. Maybe down the road, but I think if anything, if they want to add tokenized assets to their balance sheet, that's going to happen on Ethereum, not on Bitcoin. So that's kind of my take. Bill, what do you think about banks adding other crypto assets besides Bitcoin?
Yeah, I mean, banks and institutions are going through what anybody who onboards into crypto does, right? They start by looking and investing and buying Bitcoin, right? This is why I think it's like national anthem. It's, we're the first inning's about to start because they're just getting into Bitcoin now, right? They'll have Bitcoin, then they'll have Bitcoin custody, then they'll have Bitcoin investing. Then the next thing you know, diversification will kick in, which means you're going to have Ether and other altcoins. And going back to this theme of token metrics of the next QQQ, right? That's why we're here. That's what we're doing, right? We're doing what's next now.
Yeah, well said, Bill. So tell us what you think down in the comments below. So let's tune in here with the election real quick, since this is the election night. So Pennsylvania. So we have 45% of the votes in, 20 electoral votes up. Okay, so Biden is ahead by 22 electoral votes. This is going to be a long election. Okay. All right, back. Let's take a look. I guess is there breaking news? Okay, I guess not. Uh, let's see what 538 has to say here in terms of updates. Okay. Okay, is it too early yet to raise the possibility that when all votes are counted, we wind up with a 49-49 Senate and 2 runoff elections in Georgia? Okay, didn't quite get that one. Okay, how the Senate's balance? Yeah, so the Senate here in the U.S. could shift in power. But anyway, let's get back to crypto. Okay, so here's a question. Do you think Trump will ban crypto, especially Bitcoin? I mean, I don't think so. Yes, he's spoken badly about Bitcoin on Twitter, but I mean, he said lots of things on Twitter and then did the opposite. So, I mean, I'm not afraid of him banning Bitcoin. It's very hard to ban Bitcoin, especially now. As Bill just mentioned, if corporations are adding it to the balance sheets, if government entities have come out and said it's a commodity, I mean, so he'd really have to go off the deep end to try to ban Bitcoin. But obviously, anything is possible. But I think if anything, it will just be just theatrics and not so much substance. Right? Unless he's putting out an executive order saying he's banning Bitcoin. I mean, I think they can make it very challenging, as they've kind of done thus far. But I mean, I don't see it. Bill?
Okay, so a lot of people don't know this, but the Bitcoin blockchain is the most surveilled blockchain on the planet, right? There are firms dedicated to telling you every single thing that goes on. And there's even a firm called Chainalysis that works with federal law enforcement agencies, training agents how to read what's on the Bitcoin blockchain. So really no need to ban it from a national security point of view. Okay. What I think the US government probably will do under Trump is they're going to make it so that you have to go to a crypto exchange mostly, or a futures contract to get crypto. They're not going to let you get crypto through an equity market instrument easily or at all. Okay. So, Trump is probably going to want to keep equities and crypto separate from each other and not allow people to get access to crypto through equities. That's a guess. That's where they may draw the hard line. My attitude on that is who cares? We have backed, which allows people to buy a futures contract and then take delivery of physical Bitcoin.
All right. Thank you, Bill. Okay. All right. So I was able to find a nice map here that shows the election results. So we're just going to be tuning in here as the election chugs away. So right now, okay, so 98 votes to 92 for Trump, 98 for Biden, 92 for Trump. Okay, so right now we see Biden has New Mexico, Colorado, New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Connecticut, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, DC. Well, Trump has South Carolina, West Virginia, Indiana, Kentucky, Tennessee, Alabama, Louisiana, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Utah, North and South Dakota. So I don't think there are any surprises. Do you see any surprises so far, Bill?
No. The Democrats, if it was basketball, the Democrats are going to take the Big East, right? Yeah. And they're going to take the Pac-12 probably out there on the West Coast.
Yeah, New York and California.
Right. And then the SEC, the Southeastern Conference, that's the southern states. That's where, Trump is probably going to, do well. the question is, and I know this is American centric humor, but the question is what's going to go on in like the Big Ten. Where is Michigan, Wisconsin, Iowa, right? Where are these states going to go? And of course, there's the big one, Joe's home state of Pennsylvania, which in many ways is a really interesting story. A lot of people in Pennsylvania, okay, voted. They didn't vote early. They voted today. Okay. You had riots in Philadelphia because of an incident of, people were protesting and upset over actions of the Philadelphia police force. And I've even heard stories that this whole election could come down to what happens in 5 counties in Pennsylvania, if it is in fact as close as the media would like you to believe. So for, once the market finds out about Pennsylvania, that will probably be the first real move that occurs.
Right. Great analysis. So here we have the battleground states. So I do find this kind of surprising. So with 75% of the votes in, Joe Biden is beating Trump in Arizona. I thought Arizona was typically Republican. That's a pretty large lead there. So that does jump out to me. Florida, not too surprised about that. Trump is up by 51% with most of the votes in. Actually, I think that's kind of a surprise because I think most of the polls did not have that. Unless something changes. Georgia, we have, that's typical Republican. Joe Biden winning Iowa. Okay, interesting. That's about a quarter of the votes are in. Michigan is Trump. Minnesota, Biden. Okay, so New Hampshire, Biden. North Carolina.
Right. North Carolina is a big
Close.
state too, right?
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
This one's going to the wire.
Right.
93% votes in, 49.9 versus 48.9. Wow. Ohio is always a big one. And oh wow, Trump is winning Ohio with 3/4 of the votes in. Okay, 51.8% to 46.8%. And as Bill mentioned, Pennsylvania and Texas. So I kept on hearing people saying that Texas might flip Democrat, but I was not buying that 1 minute. I mean, because I feel like if Democrats get Texas, then everything flips Democrats. Because I mean, Texas is very conservative. Maybe Bill, can you chime in? You've kind of lived here for a while.
Sure. Yes. So in Texas, being a Republican, frequently in the elections at the local level, there won't even be a Democrat running against the Republican.
Wow.
At the local level, really, the election is about who wins the Republican primary. And then on actual election day, there's only the Republican. Okay. Now, Trump is not a traditional Ronald Reagan, George Bush Republican, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and believe it or not, where I live in Houston, Harris County, new voter registration was off the charts. Okay. People may be pissed about what happened with the virus in the Houston area because we got hit pretty hard.
Yeah.
So that could be why Texas is close. Okay. But I know if Texas flips blue, that a lot of people are probably going to be upset and possibly embarrassed.
Yeah. I mean, I think if that happens, it would likely be maybe all the new people moving from California and New York to Texas.
Sure.
Maybe partly, but I think those are mainly in Austin.
Right. I mean, I know in Texas that nobody cares who wins the White House as long as Texas stays red, right? Like the whole country can go blue as long as we're red. Now, I don't necessarily subscribe to that, but I know plenty of Texans who do.
Yeah. All right. Okay, somebody says if Trump gets Texas and Florida, it's probably in the bag. Okay. Next question from the comments. Okay, from Walker, Ian, and Bill. What should we be buying with these early indicators? Okay. I mean that's a fair question. I would say go to tokenmetrics.com and subscribe if you haven't already. That's why we made the platform. We basically give you all of that. So here, let me just pull this up here on my end, and we can kind of go through what Tokenmetrics sees right now at the moment. We'll go through both the value investor perspective, and we also go through the trader perspective, and then Bill can also kind of maybe share his perspective as well from the TA standpoint. So for value investor, so if you wanted to go out there and buy, this is, I said, not financial advice, but in our opinion, these are the best buys right now. So that would be basically, we have Blockstack, Binance, Bitcoin, Uniswap, Ethereum, Amperforth, Maker, Monero, Hashgraph, Pax Gold, and Polkadot. So these are basically the projects out there. Now, if you're trading, if you want to do a short-term trade, a month or less, maybe a week or two, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bancor, Uniswap, Pax Gold, Polkadot, Amperforth, Synthetics, Dash, Eternity. Now, from a TA perspective, our TA models aren't so bullish at the moment. So let's say you want to find something that's bullish. Actually, that might be unlikely now. So just 20x is bullish for now. Yeah, so maybe
try neutral.
Okay, so if we go to neutral, then we have some players. So we have Maker, Monero, Binance as good trades. Bill, your perspective, going back to the question, which was basically how would we trade indicators right now in this market?
Okay. So this is the question of the hour, right? I think it's a twofold answer. You want to have, what they call dry powder to be able to move into altcoins at a moment's notice, right? As soon as you see the bulls take control. So if I had to go out and buy something right now, I would take a shot at Ethereum. It could go to 270, right? It's an election. It's like a, it's like a gray swan event. But if you don't have ETH, it's tough to get involved in alts, right? So, and ETH is so far below, okay, it's all-time high. Like, here's just something I hacked together on Excel. Okay. This is not token metrics. This is Bill drawn with a spreadsheet. Okay.
I like it.
All right. So Ethereum is 73% below its 2017 high. QQQ, that's NASDAQ 100, Facebook, Apple, Microsoft, etc., is 72% above its 2017 high. So the new QQQ, or the platform that the new QQQ gets built on, is 72% below 2017 levels, where the other side, the legacy side, is that far above. Bitcoin, 29% below 2017 levels. Gold, 41% above 2017 levels. Okay. So why did I show you that? Well, it's very simple. You can always get wrecked in crypto. But if I'm buying something 72% off its all-time high, like Ether, while its legacy companions are to the moon and beyond, I feel okay. I'm okay with it, right? Because you can use these things like Ether or even Bitcoin. Bitcoin dips to 12,500. I know a lot of smart trading types think that that's possible. Grab some, right? I mean, what else can you do to get involved in the crypto market that you can either play Bitcoin or Ethereum, or hopefully subscribe to Token Metrics and come on over to the altcoin space?
All right. Thank you, Bill. So tell us what you think down in the comments below. Be sure to smash the like buttons and subscribe because we're here with you on the US election night. I mean, we're already approaching 2 hours. I don't think we'll be able to be here with everybody throughout the entire stream, or election. But let's see how we're doing so far. So Biden now has 118 votes. Trump has 105, and looks like Biden has got Illinois. So let's take a look. Where is that? This is not a battleground state. Let me show all states. So by a landslide. Wow. Okay. Yeah, that one's over. That was a blowout there. Okay. Now on to the next question. Okay, so I'm currently 23 years old and have some money to invest and have been struggling to come up with a new business that will bring me more income. Am I better off just going into crypto fully? I have around $15,000. Okay, wow. Okay, yeah, let's take a step back to kind of think this through. So basically, you're young, you have some money, you're looking. Okay, so going here, you have been struggling to come up with a new business that will bring you more income than crypto, right? So basically, you're young, maybe in college or just finished college. You have some money on the side. You're thinking, I've been trying to do a business. It's not working out. Should I just invest it in crypto? I mean, that's a interesting perspective, but you're very young. So, I mean, I wouldn't risk everything. But I mean, I think learn about crypto. Obviously, you're watching the show, so you're already a step ahead. Dabble in crypto, but don't risk everything. Don't put everything all into crypto. Even though you're young and you could possibly make it back, I think be patient with it, but have a strategy. So I would hedge. So I think I would put some money in crypto. Maybe you're trading crypto, whether Bitcoin, Ethereum, altcoins, or whatever, or DeFi. Because if you take 15K and just put like 10% into crypto, you could turn that into a lot of money if you're doing the right things. Obviously, if you have the right research, or the right network, or the right people around you, that is possible. But I would not put everything in crypto. So when I got into crypto, even though I had money, the first thing I did was buy Bitcoin and Ethereum, and I only put in what I was willing to lose. So that was $100 in Bitcoin, $100 in Ethereum. Then I went out there, learned more about the space over about 2.5 months, read books on digital gold, the age of cryptocurrency. Those books kind of made me a lot more confident in the space. Then I scaled up because at that point I had made some money, or in a way I hadn't lost any money. So I then kind of doubled down and put it in 2,500 into Bitcoin and Ethereum. And then that kind of took off, right? So basically what I'm saying is dollar cost average in and scale up as you have more success. So if you have 15K, how much of that are you willing to lose, right? Let's say it's just $100. Then put that in crypto. And as you get more success, then scale up, right? So I think this is something Bill mentioned a while back. You have to earn the right to take profit, something like that, Bill?
You have to earn the right to take risk.
To take risk. Okay. Yeah.
Right. So in other words, you build bigger positions as the position you have starts doing well. Right. So in this kind of a case, the best investment you can make in this environment is food, water, shelter, transportation, and safety. Okay. So make sure you got that handled. Don't go full cowboy like there are no problems in the world, right?
Yeah.
That's a little bit of a different answer versus say 2 years ago. Okay. Now, once that's straightened out, if you want to put 10% in, okay, why don't you watch how it moves? There's only one way to know about crypto. That's to experience $1,000 going to $850 and then going to $1,400 and then going to $950 and then going to $1,200, right? That's how your P&L is going to move in 5 and 10% increments. And then you can decide. It's like, okay, am I winning? Is this a good investment? I need some help with token metrics. We hope that's what we hope you go that route. Let us help you. Okay. But the thing is, can you stomach it? Everyone goes, oh my God, crypto can go up so much. Yeah. But can you deal with it day in, day out? If you can, right, you'll know. And then you won't need to ask anybody, should you do more? You'll have, winning investments, and then you can just slowly put more in. But don't go full casino and push out all the chips. Don't do it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Now, to also kind of add to that, so you mentioned that you've been trying to come up with a new business that's not working. I would say maybe try a different business, or just take something that's very simple that you do very well. So whatever skill you have, try to monetize that. So I feel like if you're doing something of value, that could be the business. Now, you're young, so maybe you're still kind of just learning about, or just trying to learn a new skill, but sometimes it takes time. But one of the best ways, or the best hacks to break into any venture, any space, any industry, is to just uh, find the right people and volunteer to work with them for free, or intern with them for free. Right. So, I mean, I kind of shared a story in the past. I had a hobby of basically filming video, right? Began as a travel vlog. Then I wanted to form a video production company, but I was basically nobody. So I just volunteered one day to film. These were fashion shows and pageants in DC for free. People liked it. I mean, I was not the best out there, but I was free, right? And I had a very nice camera. So, long story short, after doing that for about 6 to 9 months, I was getting better. I was basically just learning. But I began to build up a nice portfolio. Like, people invited me. I became the official videographer for Miss DC, and she would invite me to events with the Redskins, with the Wizards, right? So kind of like the who's who in DC, like the DC socially, like all the athletes and the fundraisers with the NFL. So I began to put all that in my portfolio, and after a year, I could begin charging people for it, right? So I would say play the long game, right? So if, for example, if you're a trader, maybe find a good trader in your city, and hey, volunteer to help him out, right? Something like that. So that's kind of my take. If anybody else has any other comments in our crypto family that they want to share, post down in the comments below. Okay, all right. Well, we're hitting 2 hours into this election night, so I think we're probably going to have to call it a wrap here. Let me see if we can take one last question or something like that. Just give me 1 second. I want to make sure. Yeah, because we have lots of questions here. Unfortunately, we cannot get through everything. Okay, how will the quant index work?
Popular show, huh?
Yeah. Okay, so maybe we can do 2 questions rapid fire. So how will the quant index work? Okay, let me just make sure this is on. Okay, so how will the quant index work? Will it also affect the price predictions curves? I'm asking because I use the monthly price prediction index, and I use the price prediction curves to time my trades. So the price prediction curves will remain the same. Quant grade will be its own grade based on its own AI. So that will be something totally different. And that will be mainly for value investors, while price prediction will be the same. Now, price prediction grade is also going to be combined with technical analysis to form a new grade called trader grade, which will be basically the new grade. So to kind of go back to token metrics here. So what's going to happen is, because right now people, based on customer feedback on the survey, we have too many grades, which makes it too confusing to know what to do, right? Because people see this grade here, then they see the TA is neutral, then they see the price prediction is down. So people don't know what to do. So we're going to make things a lot easier and simpler, and we're going to basically hide the fundamentals and technology grade and TA grade here, and you have just one grade. But this one grade will be a combination of everything. So the quant grade will be the new value investor grade. That takes 54 data points, So quant data points that quants use, such as Sharpe ratio, Centino ratio, max drawdown, skew, return, all that performance, basically all the performance metrics will be turned into a new grade. And this grade is more accurate than anything we have thus far. And then, so basically you just turn to this, and this will be the quant grade, the new value investor grade. Then the trader grade will be a combination of technical analysis and the price prediction, because in our back test, that is actually more accurate. So last time we tested this, about if we had about 85% of the grade be the price prediction and 15% be the TA grade, this was actually more accurate. It had about a 68% accuracy level, which was pretty good. For perspective, the TA accuracy is only 55%, and the price prediction accuracy was only about 62%. But combining them made things even better. So that's pretty powerful. So basically, this will be removed, and you have two grades. So if you're a trader, you have a trader grade, and if you a value investor, you have a quant grade. Then that means we'll have to create new indices, and we'll basically have to get rid of the old ones because we've changed and have new grades. So we'll have a trader index for daily, weekly, and monthly for all the day traders. And then we'll also have a value investor or quant index. And this will be monthly, quarterly, and annually for people who want longer time horizons. And we think that will be, we think that this is going to change everything. And we're also working on being able to automatically import new coins. So that way we can ingest thousands of coins and have them fully graded. So that means you won't have to see the still scoring badge anymore, because that's something people have been asking us about. So if you want to have all of this, make sure you have subscribed to Tokenmetrics ASAP. Thank you. Okay, let me go on to the next one. Okay, so yeah, I think this might be the last one. Okay, I've kind of shared this story before. So the question is, how long did it take you to recover your wallet attack? Sorry, to recover from your wallet attack, and what was it like, if you don't mind sharing? Good question. I mean, I've covered this before in past live streams, but basically, for those who don't know, I got hacked live on a live stream. The irony, for 2.5 million in crypto. I learned my lesson. Long story short, though, it's been about this was spring of 2018. The good thing is the hackers have been caught. Right now, it's currently going to trial. Actually, the trial was meant to be this month with the DOJ, the Department of Justice. So that basically, thanks to the FBI, my crypto network, crypto family, and anybody out there who sent in tips, we're able to find the hackers. Now that they have to face trial, then there'll be all that. I might be there in person, so I'll keep everyone posted if that happens. But I haven't really talked too much about it because I'm waiting for everything to be finalized before kind of speaking publicly about it a lot. But for now, that's kind of that. But long story short, the hackers were found. Now regarding the money, so I mean, investing wise, I had cashed out some money, right? I had cashed out, I would say, maybe 500,000 or more to just kind of finance my business. So back when we were doing the Crypto World Tour and Tokenmetrics, but losing the hack made me really go all into creating other businesses in crypto. And that's what helped me recover the money. So for example, on our Crypto World Tour, we had sponsors, right? Sponsors like KuCoin. KuCoin came in and sponsored our world tour, and also sponsored the content we're creating. That was for 1 year, right? And that was probably the biggest crypto influencer deal in history. For those who have seen my video at Howard when I gave a talk about that, that was a pretty big deal. Then we also founded 100x Advisors. That was basically our investment and advisory company. So we were making investments, had some good returns from that, also consulting with people in the space. That also helped out. So in essence, yes, I've made back more than 2.5 million, but it wasn't from investing in crypto per se, partially investing in crypto, but also forming other businesses around crypto to diversify. Because when I saw, oh shit, I got hacked for 2.5 million, I'm like, okay, how can I make this money back as quickly as possible? Right? I was a big name in the space. Lots of people wanted to work with me. I mean, so to me, the advisory aspect was probably the strongest because people always wonder, Ian, how can you lose 2.5 million and not cry, basically? Uh, because one, I knew how I made the money from Tokenmetrics and this philosophy, but I mean, like probably 4 months earlier, I was turning down deals with projects to consult. Right? So, for example, like Hybrid Block a while back in like the bull run, I turned down $3 million to consult with them because that project was a scam, basically. Because from interacting with them, I knew it was a scam. But I mean, back then, like at my stature, at the peak of the ICO bubble or bull run, I was getting so much inbound business development opportunities that recouping 1 or 2 million would have been easy, right? So I guess from that perspective, uh, yes, it sucked, but I also knew that I mean I'm a businessman, right? It's kind of like, my back's up against the wall, time to go out there and eat and get the money back, and that's what I did. Uh, Bill, any comments?
Well, getting hacked for 2.5 million will put the cry in crypto. I think the lesson for anyone listening to the show is that Ian didn't give up, right? In this environment, it's easy to get discouraged. It's easy to do a bad trade and walk away and get upset, right? We had a guest recently warning against complaining, okay? So Ian can provide you with an example of somebody who went through adversity and then got busy recovering from that from that problem, right? So that's an important lesson in this environment. Okay. If you're facing adversity, okay, how do you respond? That's why crypto is a great business, right? Because you got to be strong because there's no Federal Reserve underneath your investment. It's just the free market. So take a page out of Ian's book, try crypto.
All right, and thank you, Bill. Okay, so we do have some news here, some election news. Oh man, I think I know some people in Florida that won't be too happy to hear this. Okay, so let me just share this. To Okay, so
I just got an alert that the betting markets have moved in Trump's favor.
oh wow,
So
okay.
I guess it was 3-1 for Trump odds, and now it's only 1.4.
Yeah, let me see if I can fast forward this. Actually, let me switch to.
That's coming out of the UK.
Oh, the UK is betting on the election.
Yeah. I've got a chat room of smart people I'm watching on the live stream tonight.
Nice. Okay, so yeah, because Fox News is calling Trump winning Florida. That's a battleground state. So, but NBC News here doesn't have it. Okay, so here we have. So Biden has Washington, Oregon, California. No surprise there. Basically, both coasts, West Coast, East Coast, then the middle, the heartland, Republican country. But yeah, so Trump winning Florida. That's very interesting because I mean, all those polls were saying Trump was going to lose Florida possibly, but I mean, I didn't really believe that. But I mean, very strong election here we have. Pretty interesting. Okay, so I think it's time for us to maybe wrap things up here. Thank you to all our crypto family for tuning in. Let's end with some words of encouragement during this election night. Bill, any last words to our crypto family on election night?
Certainly. So I have a joke. I say, I already voted. I'm in crypto. Meaning whatever it is these guys are doing, I'm going to go do something else. All right. I think the other thing to remember is, people are passionate about this stuff. At the end of the day, we all fly the same flag, right? You have to try to remember that. I know it's almost impossible, but try to be nice to your fellow men and women. Right.
Yeah.
Be a good person, be a good winner or a good loser.
All right. Thank you, Bill. So I would say, I mean, this is going to be a very interesting time we're in, regardless of who wins. Think rationally, think about your money, because at the end of the day, regardless of who wins, nobody's really going to control your success, right? Because if you have to rely on somebody else for your success, that's already a bad strategy in my book, right? So I like to take self accountability in everything, right? Doesn't matter whether it's Biden or Trump, right? Nobody but Biden or Trump want to trade your crypto for you. So you have to trade it yourself, right? So don't blame your losses on anybody else but yourself, right? Take personal accountability, because that's a very powerful thing. Because the moment you shift blame to somebody else for your life, that means you have no control to change it, right? And I always believe that people can change their lives, right? That's kind of like where the whole self-help industry comes from, right? People can take personal ownership to transform their lives, right? I mean, I've kind of seen it with my parents. My parents came from a village in Uganda. My dad got his PhD in America and is now living a very comfortable life, right? And that came from him taking personal accountability. And same thing with me. Like, I was working in the corporate world, working at IBM, could have just kept my cushy job, but give it all up to go all into crypto, and got hacked, lost 2.5 million, as I mentioned earlier, but still stayed in crypto, full time in crypto. Because I mean, I could have given up. I could have said, "Hey, I got hacked. Tough luck. I'm done here." But I knew that nobody was going to go out there and make the money back except me, right? So that's kind of the philosophy I have in life. So go out there and make that money, regardless of who's in power, right? Because we're all going to go to the moon and beyond, right? As Bill said, it's the same rocket ship, right? Whether it's Trump, Biden, heck, whether it's a Martian in there, we're going to the moon regardless. So as we like to say, the moon is not the limit, to the moon and beyond. Thank you, crypto family.
Thank you.